Hello everybody and welcome to another video on the Pole Position YouTube channel. Yes, I know it has been a while, but I have had a few weeks off, and of course we've had a few races go by since. I'll discount the Belgian Grand Prix because obviously we did a watch along on the Let's Talk Sport YouTube channel, and obviously there was hardly any racing on that day. So obviously we've had the Dutch Grand Prix and now the Italian Grand Prix, and I thought I'd go through a few points of the race at Monza, where we saw Daniel Ricciardo win for McLaren's first win since 2012. Huge victory, and not just a win but a 1-2 as well. So without further ado, let's get into it. But yeah, Daniel Ricciardo, his first win since 2018 and the Monaco Grand Prix for Red Bull. He's obviously had them couple of years at Renault. Well, didn't manage. He got a podium, but didn't manage to get that race win. Has now achieved it at McLaren. Great job all weekend. McLaren looked really good, and like Daniel Ricciardo said on the Saturday after the sprint qualifying, if he managed to get into the first couple of turns in the lead, then it might be a good race for them. And of course, he did exactly that and managed to get past Max Verstappen. Better start than the Red Bull as well, and just looked in control from there. Lando Norris as well had a great race, great weekend. McLaren just looked really good. That engine power from Mercedes really looked good, and even when they didn't have DRS, and say Hamilton and Verstappen had DRS to Norris and Ricciardo, they still looked in control. They still looked like they could keep pace and extend that gap between the Red Bull and the Mercedes. So overall, a fantastic weekend for McLaren, and as a McLaren fan, it's fantastic to see finally them on the top step of the podium, and when they do it, they get a 1-2 as well. So huge for them, not just for this season and for getting that race win, but of course also against Ferrari, who managed to get 4th and 6th, which is not bad considering where they were last year at Monza. But ultimately, when their main rivals get a 1-2, it's not a great weekend, especially on their home track. But overall, a fantastic job from the McLaren team, and obviously we're going into the next Grand Prix in Russia, sort of similar as well with them top speeds, so look out for that. We could see McLaren also being high up on that list for there as well, so keep an eye out for that. I think we also should look at Valtteri Bottas, who again also controlled the weekend. I think he did a really good job, matched his teammate, beat his teammate on Friday when we did the main qualifying, then went into the sprint race and won that as well with them 3 extra points for the race win. Ultimately, annoyingly, that meant he had to go all the way back to the grid when changing them major engine components. But even from starting to the back of the grid, managed to go all the way and get that 3rd place on the podium. And Valtteri Bottas this weekend, after that news that we now know that he's going to Alfa Romeo next year, and obviously George Russell's taking over at Mercedes, Valtteri's just looked really, comfortable. He's looked happy. He's looked, like a completely different mood to maybe what we've seen at the beginning of the season. And he just looks happy with just going out there now and just driving. So. Great job from him. Huge praise considering he was at the back of the grid, and sometimes quite difficult to overtake at Monza, even with the long straights and the DRS. If they all get DRS, it's just a DRS train every single lap, so it's quite difficult to overtake there. So huge job from Valtteri Bottas as well. Ultimately, we've got to talk about the incident between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. I believe on lap 26 it was, so it was still quite a way to go after that. So again, great job from the McLaren boys to keep the positions. But in terms of Hamilton and Verstappen, it was a surprise to me that again they've come together. I thought maybe after the British Grand Prix and discussions that they had between that break, that they would maybe be a bit more conservative towards each other, but then I suppose you look at it and you think, well, they're fighting for a world championship. They might have had them discussions, but when you're on track, it's completely different. And we saw that. Depends on whether you're a Max Verstappen and a Lewis Hamilton fan, where you're going to go in this scenario. But as a neutral, somebody that has maybe other drivers that I prefer on the grid, I would say Max maybe, and obviously we know Max has had a free place grid penalty for the next weekend in Russia, but I feel like it was the gap had gone pretty quickly, and he was already committed, so I get that point if you're a Max Verstappen fan, of course, but he maybe could have gone off onto the curbs, which we saw other people do at that first chicane as well. And I think if it had been the other way around, and maybe Verstappen would have squeezed what Lewis maybe did. Lewis, I think, would have gone over onto that the lesser curbs and tried to catch Max back up. But they both crashed into each other. The slow-mo cameras of Verstappen on top of Hamilton's car were amazing pictures to see. But ultimately, it's just great that we both drivers were okay from that incident as well. And of course, again, highlights how well the Halo has done since it's been in the sport. We've obviously seen a few incidents in the past, and again, I think it highlights how important it is to have the device in the modern era of Formula One. But ultimately, I thought I had to discuss it, but I feel like Max maybe was deserved on that penalty. I'm glad it's not too much. I think 3 places is just enough, but we could also see them change engine components going into the Russian Grand Prix as well, so keep an eye out for that. They might be both starting from the back of the grid. And let me know your thoughts. What do you think in terms of the incident? Do you think it was Max Verstappen's fault? Do you think it was Lewis Hamilton's fault? Or do you ultimately think it was a racing incident? And let me know your thoughts on the Italian Grand Prix and the Dutch Grand Prix as well. We won't discuss the Belgian one because obviously that for me that's gone out the back of my mind. But let me know your thoughts on the weekend. Obviously, like I said, a couple of weeks now until the Russian Grand Prix. Let's see what will happen in the actual championship battle as well. But of course, I think again McLaren might be quite strong in the next weekend as well, so could we see maybe Lando Norris get his first win for McLaren as well. Thank you very much for watching the video. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel as well, it really does mean a lot, and I will see you all in the next video. Take care, see you soon.